I call Todd Muller, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's great to be able to stand and support the motion of the Minister of Finance. Indeed, I think he will go down in history as one of the best Minister of Finances that we've had, and this budget talks to what he has achieved for this country. Look, Mr Speaker, as the MP for Bay of Plenty, every now and again I do a survey of my electorate. I did one a month ago, and I asked them to give me feedback in terms of the direction of travel of the Bay of Plenty electorate. 75% said their economic conditions for themselves, they expected to be the same or improve over the next year. Same number, 74.5%, said the Bay of Plenty economy was going well or extremely well, and talks to the success of this government in its policies and how it's playing out in my electorate. But, Mr Speaker, I did ask for feedback on the areas that they thought this government should continue to work on their behalf. And they gave me very clear feedback that we should be focused on roading, housing, health, employment and education. And, Mr Speaker, I went to 2 public meetings yesterday to discuss those 5 issues and others that were of concern, and I could share the success of this budget in terms of addressing those 5 areas. In roading, Mr Speaker, I could talk to the planned in total over the last few years and planned over $1 billion of roading investment to the Bay of Plenty, including the $512 million recently announced for the Tauranga Northern Link that I know is a critical piece of infrastructure for the Bay of Plenty economy. For housing, Mr Speaker, clearly that was an issue that they had raised through the survey. I could talk to the 3,000 emergency housing places that have been promised. That's 60 for 3 months, times 4 is 240 a year in Tauranga. That's an immediate impact for those who are struggling. So those on the other side, part of the alliance and the alliance of Green and Labour, that say that this budget is doing nothing, they're wrong. There's a clear demonstration there of our commitment to assist those who need more support with respect to housing. And in the national policy statement that will direct councils to allow more housing development, the Bay of Plenty is already a test case for how, if you are ahead of the game in terms of your strategic approach, the Bay of Plenty Regional Council, the Western Bay of Plenty District Council, the Tauranga City Council for the last 15 years has worked at identifying where the settlement patterns were likely to be, where the aligned industry needed to be based. That is why we have an economy that is pumping well, and that is why you can see that sort of approach being rolled out in Auckland, Mr Speaker. In terms of health, the third issue that my electorate said that they were interested in our ongoing focus on. I could report $2.2 billion of additional spending over the next 4 years, $1.6 billion for DHB activity in particular, and there was significant positive feedback on the $39 million to support the National Bowel Screening program, particularly from my constituent Brett Morrison, who has been a hugely strong and staunch advocate for this program, particularly since the passing of his wife with that dreadful disease. With respect to employment, the fourth issue on the list, Mr Speaker, I could talk, of course, to an economy in the Bay of Plenty that is doing particularly well. We have 5.1% unemployment. It is the lowest in the North Island. And so there was a significant resonance in the public meeting when I talked about our forecast of 175,000 more jobs over the next 4 years on the back of an achievement, a collective achievement with the people of New Zealand of 200,000 jobs over the last 4 years. So it certainly resonated with my community, Mr Speaker. And with respect to education, I could talk to the significant investment in schools and new buildings, and I have significant confidence that the Bay of Plenty will benefit in both schools and classrooms from that investment. And in social services, which I think will be part of why I believe that Bill English will be seen as a great finance minister in time to come. The thinking that has gone on to underpin our investment in social services. Instead of the historical view that you achieve success electorally by just spending money, this is a government that is focused on outcomes, that does some deep thinking in partnership with the sector around how to fix complex issues that has structures which historically have not worked. And between us, ourselves, NGOs, I believe we're going to make significant difference to those who are most vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, I strongly support this budget, and it contrasts with the rhetoric we have heard on the other side, which is becoming stronger by the day, that their vision of the future is spend,
Order.
spend, spend.
The member's time.